So one of the things I've seen asked quite a few times is one of these things like, why do you play Sisters of Battle? Why do you play any army for that matter? And I kind of wanted to just give my opinion on that and why I've ended up where I am in 40k and that kind of thing. And yeah, as I say, this is especially asked about Sisters of Battle because they are a very rare army. Some would say a collector's army. I'm not sure I'd agree with that, but you know. Also, they are perceived to be very bad, but that's a discussion for another time. And yeah, so why would anyone start Sisters of Battle when you could just get one of the newer plastic armies that you don't have to deal with metal and all that kind of thing? Well, first off, right off the bat, I would say that for Sisters, you know, I actually quite like working with metal. I like that they're heavy and classic and, you know, all that old kind of thing. I like that they've got some weight to the models. It makes them feel special in a way, even though there's a lot of impracticalities with that, of course. I wish some of the kits were plastic instead. I wish there was a plastic kit for that matter, just basic truth, but whatever. But yeah, that's my first proviso there. So, how I actually got into Sisters of Battle is kind of strange in many ways, but basically when I was very young, I kind of found Games Workshop by mistake. Some friends were playing it and stuff at the time. Well, I say playing. Basically, we just collected models and just painted them really badly, and then just like never used them. Always trying to save it for that army, you know, collect an army, but it never happened. I was purely interested in Warhammer Fantasy, Undead. In fact, I really wanted to collect Undead. Got a bunch of models. Got the box set, starter set, even got like the expansions and things, and never played a game. So yeah, just dropped out of the hobby after that. But one of the things I remember was used to get White Dwarf back then, and one of the things I particularly remember was when the Sisters of Battle were first released, and I remember just reading through that, and I was thinking I didn't know anything about 40k at the time, but I actually learned a lot through that. I thought it was really interesting. I liked the artwork. You know, I just really, you know, it appealed to me. But basically, I looked at them and I was like, "Oh, female Space Marines," you know, and that was it. And that's something that's kind of continued in many ways, that people think about them. But to be honest, back then they pretty much were. They had the same exact stat lines as a Space Marine. Yeah, they were. That's what they were mechanically. They were female Space Marines. So yeah, fast forward to the modern day, looking for something social to do, get into 40k, got some Space Marine models, make a Space Marine army. In the back of my mind, I constantly got this little niggling thing that was, I remember Sisters of Battle, I wonder if they're still around. I would like to get some of those at some point. Because when they were launched, they were basically an allied force. It was like an allied squad that you would take for the rest of your army. They weren't meant to be an army on their own at that point. So yeah, I was going to get some. Of course, there was no allies at this point because this was 5th edition. But you know, I was just going to like proxy them in, that kind of thing. So I looked into it. I managed to get the codex through piracy, which was the White Dwarf codex at this point because I'd missed it. Of course, there was no other way to get it. Found it, I just had a quick read through. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I was looking at the stats and things, and I did a little bit of research online, and immediately, one of the things I got back was that Sisters of Battle are terrible, this codex is terrible, you know, no one wants to play them, Games Workshop doesn't like them, you know, they're old models, blah blah blah. But from my perspective, because I remembered how much I liked them originally, you know, they were still really cool and fresh. So, I think that was a big factor in doing it. And also, I was checking the rules and stuff, and because people were saying they were bad, I was checking the rules and I was looking through, and I'm like, yeah, I can see why people are saying that, based on the stats and the rules and things, but I don't know, I can see a bit of potential here. I can see, You know, they're quite shooty. They've got some decent special rules there. You know, this Celestine woman looks like she's got a few tricks she could do. That could be effective. And yeah, that's what I was thinking. And slight tangent, but it'll make sense. I have long been the person who, basically, when something is constantly said to be rubbish, useless, cannot work no matter what, especially in games, of course, it immediately makes that thing attractive to me, in that I want to take it and turn it into something good. So basically, if there is like a class in an RPG or something that everyone says is terrible, I want to run that class. I want to make it amazing and prove to everyone that, you know, it can work fine. You're just doing it wrong. And I know that sounds arrogant. It's not supposed to. That is a challenge for me. And sometimes it's really, really hard to get to those points. But generally speaking, in these situations, these things are really good. They just untapped potential because no one's found it yet. So I like to be that person who, like, takes something and does it like that, or takes something established and do it in a different way. And even in 40k, when I got into it, Space Marines at the time I got into it were not played. This is towards the end of 5th edition. No one played Space Marines, not regular vanilla Space Marines. Everyone was playing Blood Angels and Space Wolves because, you know, they had the better rules, you know. And I was like the only one in a club of like 30 people playing vanilla Marines because no one thought they were any good, but they had a lot of strength and versatility, you know. So that attracted me to them, you know, even more than it would normally. And the same thing with Sisters, and in fact Eldar, but that's a different story. So basically, as soon as this happened, I was like, right, I'm going to make some test army lists for this and just have a tinker around and stuff. And I did some, I did a little bit of testing. I'm like, this actually seems pretty good on paper. So I got some second-hand models. I think I bought a Battle Sister squad first, and I got Seraphim, because I realised early on that the Seraphim looked like they were pretty good on paper. And I was fortunate that I got the Seraphim first, because since then they have spiked massively in price. And a lot of the models of like sergeants and things have actually gone. Like, they're completely gone now. The casts have worn out. So yeah, I was lucky to get those first, really. But you know, and I slowly built up a collection. And I had a few test games, sometimes a few proxies and that kind of thing. Small points levels, that kind of thing. I remember losing. It was kind of funny. I lost the first actual game I had, which wasn't me just messing around with a test game. I had a proper game against Chaos, and I lost it. It was pretty close. And I was like, okay, I lost pretty badly, but I could see the issues there. And I tweaked a few things. Played the next game, won it. Played the next game, won it. Played the next game, won it. And I was unbeaten for like, I can't remember how many, I don't know, something like 10 games in a row, unbeaten after that. So I only lost one proper game with them, and I'm like, this arm is amazing. I don't know what people are complaining about. And then, of course, they got a new codex after that, and, you know, updated again. Yeah, basically, they have always been powerful, which I like. They're kind of like the dark horse. Nobody wants to play them, but in particular, you know, they are very effective on the table, so that's nice, because you get that feeling of pride when you play them and that kind of thing. Now, talking about that a bit more, you always get that feeling when you unpack Sisters at a gaming store or club, and that is, here is something that I know I will be very rarely play a mirror match, so you know it's not going to be Marines versus Marines or Orcs v Orcs or anything like that. Well, sometimes it is, but you know, rarely. The other thing is, people like to play against Sisters, so because they don't get much chance, so it's a new thing for them, it's a novelty, it makes the game more interesting for them and for you, people have more fun, you know, and also you're not going to be short of opponents. Go anywhere and I often get challenged by random people because they want to play against Sisters. Sadly I don't have time to play them that often, but you know. So yeah, it's good. The other thing is you'll get a lot of people coming over and looking because they haven't seen them in person before. They're so rare. So, you know, there's a bit of a status there that just gets people talking to you and stuff. So it's really good for a social army, for a social hobby, sorry. And an army like this is actually a benefit because it gets people talking, you know. It's almost like an icebreaker in many ways. So yeah, there's that. The other thing is, as people say, it's like it's kind of seen as a collector's army. I'm not sure I agree with that, but still. So yeah, you're gonna get attention from it. The other thing is, because nobody plays it, people assume they're bad, so they're often surprised. You've got a lot of surprises you can pull out that people won't work, and certain strategies which would not work with any other army will work for Sisters because of that. So you have the element of surprise on your side just by playing Sisters, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, so that is basically it. The other things I liked were, of course, the fluff. I'm a gamer first and foremost, and in that the games are the most interesting part for me, and like working out and all that kind of thing. But I do enjoy the fluff and the backstory. I like that the Sisters of Battle are just humans in power armor. There's no like augmentation or you know, genetic manipulation going on. They're just normal humans, you know, and it's just their will that carries them forward and makes them braver than Space Marines and all that kind of thing. So I really like that. I like that. I often describe them as they are what the Imperial Guard could be if they were given the very best training and equipment. Because they have all this really cool equipment, and you know, they basically get equipped like Space Marines, but they're still just humans, so they're like the elite of the elite, and I like that. I like that they, as the fluff numbers have them, there are less Sisters of Battle in the universe than Space Marines. You know, they're rare in the universe as well. Yeah, I just like everything about that, to the point where when I was painting them, I tried to make them all look very functional. Function over form with their equipment and stuff. So they got the matte black bolters and, you know, all that kind of thing. They're about the combat first, and then the what do you call it, the worship second. So yeah, I like the style, which is important when you're playing an army. But mainly, the main reason I started playing Sisters is basically for the challenge, which was, you know, trying to just prove that, you know, they aren't as bad as everybody says. And honestly, the challenge wasn't that great, in that they are really good anyway, so, you know, there wasn't much contest there. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's about Sisters. Not a tactical video, obviously. What I would like to know is why you started playing your army of choice. So if you would like to share that, then leave a comment below. Alternatively, if you have any questions, then, you know, you can message me or leave a comment below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, remember to click like, and of course feel free to subscribe for more videos, and of course more tactical videos coming very soon. So thanks for watching, see you next time.